guys, it's Jake from Team Insanity. Have a little review for you, just a little thoughts, because a lot of people have been wondering what I think about the Stella barrel. So here we are, we have the Stella barrel. Now, what I've been using this on the Mini GS and a few other guns, the Bob Long MVP that I have at the moment. And I have no idea when this review is going to be up, but just my first thoughts is I like all the different custom, the different things that you can do to it, like how you can get a different size bore tip, which it means a lot, because if you guys remember, one thing that I don't like about the Planet Eclipse barrels is that they're so overboard, but it's not just the backs, it's the fucking tips too that is like, they're massive. And the thing is that you don't want a huge massive tip for a few reasons. I'm not going to go into like the whole, oh, you get a good pressure on the ball, it makes it quieter, blah blah blah, and all that stuff that they talk about. But the biggest reason is that if you break paint, the squeegees, if you don't have something like an Exalt squeegee or one of those bomb swabs or something like that, if you just have the straight squeegee that works for anything else but a 685 barrel, then you stick your squeegee down there and you don't squeegee the tip, but you only squeegee your back. And the reason why is because the tip is so big and you just push a bunch of paint around inside the tip. And that was one of the things that I don't like about the Planet Eclipse barrels, is that the tip is like a 685 or something, and like the back on the E-Tech is like a 6.9, or not a 685, it's like a 6.95, and the back on the E-Tech is like a 6.93 or something. And if you have just the straight swab squeegees and you stick it down there, it's not going to squeegee it well, because it's not necessarily squeegeeing the barrel, it's not hitting the whole top and bottom of the barrel wall inside of the barrel, which is kind of a big pain in the ass if you ask me. Now, Inception, what they did is that you can get different size tips. So you have a 685 tip, you can get a 689 tip, you can get all kinds of different tips, which is really, really cool. So you can bore match your paint also to your tip. Now, first impressions on this thing is, holy shit, this thing has some wicked porting for one. And the thing that I also like is that you can get the carbon fiber tip like this. And I've been using just the carbon fiber. This is the Deadly Winds fiber barrel right up here. The reason why I've been using it is the guy who gave this to me. This isn't my barrel. He gave it to me so I can review it along with the Mini GS frame. And the thing is that I didn't use the aluminum tip because I didn't want to worry about scratching the tip of the barrel and all that, because I play hard and I scratch barrels and I bunker rub like a mother. So I didn't want to do any of that. So I just used the carbon fiber tip, so I didn't have to really worry about tip wear. So if you guys are playing out in the woods one day and you're playing pump or something and you want to have like a nice, I mean, you know, this carbon fiber tip compared to like an aluminum tip, you're not going to be like, oh my god, this tip is so like light, or you're not going to put the gun in your hand and you're not in your, if I have, say, the MVP here and I have an identical MVP and one has like a carbon fiber barrel and one doesn't, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, this MVP is way more lighter than the other one. It's not really like that, but I mean, it is lighter, but it's not going to be, you know, you're not going to really notice on your gun, holy shit, this is so light because I got a carbon fiber barrel. People who do that, they're like, yeah, I've got a carbon fiber barrel, my damn gun is so light because of this Deadly Winds barrel. I mean, you're coming down to like the grams for the most part, unless if you're using like an old steel barrel, like an old, I don't even know, just some really old 10-inch thick steel barrel. I mean, you're not going to really notice a huge difference between a normal barrel and a carbon fiber barrel. And the thing is that when you make carbon fiber this small that Deadly Winds does, is that it doesn't make it quieter, and it sort of makes it a little bit louder because it's too thin of carbon fiber to actually like absorb the sound waves, or it's too thin, and it gives it like an echo and it gives it a pop because it vibrates. It's not like a, I mean, I wish I had like a super slow-mo camera to prove it, but you know, I don't have like a couple $100,000 to spend on that kind of stuff to prove it, but just take my word for it. and we did use a decibel reader for Jacob's Deadly Winds to my boomstick, and my boomstick is quieter, and the ultralight is quieter, and the stock Bob long barrel is quieter than the carbon fiber barrels that they have, because the carbon fiber is just too thin. But you don't really have to worry about that with the Stella, because you still have the nice aluminum back, which is really, really cool, because you can still have, the reason why I like this carbon fiber is because I don't get tip wear. You don't get tip wear with this, and you can still look ag and cool without having a really messed up tip. So that's something to really think about, and that there's a little rant on carbon fiber. But I mean, this thing is really, really quiet, and I mean, I didn't really put this over the decibel reader or anything like that, because we did that testing a while ago. That video just never really made the cut, and it was never really aired. But the other really cool thing that I like about the Stella barrels that you should think about with buying the Stella barrel compared to other barrel kits is, like, if you want an Empire Super Freak barrel. So one thing to think about, other than like the Empire Super Freak or the Pathogen barrels or even a Freak kit or something like that, is that you pay for the Empire Super Freak you pay like 200 bucks, or you pay $150 for something, and you get unnecessary things. So you get like a 695 bore back, or in a 693 bore back, and a 68 or a 690 bore back, and then a 689, and sometimes then you get as small as like a 675 bore back, and or a Freak insert and all this other stuff, when in all reality you're not going to use that. So you're paying Empire not to use the 695 bore and the anywhere from like 689 to 695, basically 680 or under, even 680 from maybe like a 683 under. I mean, it's kind of useless after that. So you only have like a little buffer from the paint that I've seen, and I've shot a lot of different paint. Now it fluctuates. If your paint's bigger, then if you're shooting bigger paint, then you're not going to use the smaller bores or the medium-sized bores. You're going to stick in the 690s or the 689 or anything like that. So you're basically paying for a barrel kit, and you're never going to use half of the inserts, or you're never going to use any of that stuff. So why buy a full barrel kit? That's where, instead of buying the full Stella kit, you can just buy the back that you want and the tip that you want, which is really cool, which Empire doesn't offer with their Super Freak kit. You can't say, okay, hey, I play here and here and here, I want the Apex and the carbon fiber tip, but I don't want all the 800 billion inserts that I'm going to get that are absolutely useless. Or I don't want all the 9,000 backs that come on this barrel kit, because then you're paying $200 when you can pay, like, according to like $100. I'm not exactly sure how much these run, but I think it was like about $100 for like 2 backs and this tip or something. So if you play at a few different fields, and this is a 685 back, this is all I use at Lone Wolf, and all the other paint that I actually use around Michigan, I don't use anything larger than a 687, okay? Anything larger than that is just, it's too much. I always stick at 685 or 684. That's where I am always shooting at. Living Legends, that was kind of a toss-up when the paint started heating up and everything. But in Michigan where I'm playing, I never use more than one bore size. That's it. 684 on my carbon fiber boomstick. That's it. That's all I use, or a 685 Stella. And I think that's really cool that they don't make you, that Inception doesn't make you buy a full barrel kit with all these different tips and all this shit that you're not gonna use. Okay, that's really cool. So you can, if you're on a budget and you are only using one type of paint and it bores out at a 685 or a 689 or something like that, you'd only need to buy that back. You don't need to buy the whole barrel kit just to have it sit around and collect dust and only use one back your whole entire like life. And then maybe when you travel, it's like a big game, say Legends or like Normandy, or say you just go to a different field for a big game and they have bigger sun-baked paint or something, then that's when you bust out like a 689 insert or something like that. And I mean, that's really cool, and this is something that I will look at for the future. For me, is I really like this carbon fiber tip because I don't have to worry about any type of barrel tip wear, and that's really cool. I mean, you can really you can beat the shit out of carbon fiber barrels and there will be no tip wear because there's no anodizing on this carbon. This is just carbon fiber. There's no type of anodizing that I'm going to scratch or anything like that. That's why I use this and not the aluminum tip, but you can also use the aluminum tip as well. And as you can tell, the porting in this is wicked and it's really cool. And I just think it's a great idea. Instead of having, you don't have to buy the full barrel kit, and you don't have to waste $200 on just using one insert. You know, that's one thing that I really like about this barrel kit that really hit home with me, is that I don't have to waste $200 just to use one insert, and I can just go to the Inception booth, or I can go online and just buy the back that I need and that kind of stuff. You can't buy, from what I know, you can't buy the Empire Super Freak without all of the inserts. And say you just want the carbon fiber tip and the aluminum back for the Super Freak, sucks. You have to buy the whole entire $200 kit, which is, you know, that's why I really like the Stella barrels, that you don't have to do all that. You don't have to buy that. And you can have a 16-inch tip, you can have a 14-inch tip. But by all means, if you really want to, you can buy the whole entire barrel kit, and you can spend $200 and get every insert and every tip or every back, not insert, and every tip and everything. But, you know, is it worth it? I mean, if your paint fluctuates that much, sure, it's worth that much. But I mean, a lot of people only play at 1 or 2 fields around their house, you know, unless if you're like Dave Baines or, you know, Thomas Taylor, or those people that travel and play at several different fields a year, then it would be worth it buying more backs and that kind of stuff. But let's be honest, think about how many fields that you play at a year and how much the paint fluctuates between those fields. You know, you're not going playing in Zimbabwe one day and going and playing in, like, you know, Alaska the next day. It's nothing like that. That's why I really like this, is that my paint stays consistent. So I'm not going to buy 800 different inserts. I'm not going to buy a barrel kit that has a 695 barrel back that I'm never going to use. So that's my thoughts on the Stella barrel, as I really like the concept. And you don't have to buy the full barrel kit. You can have different tips if you want it. You can have all the different bags. I mean, it's awesome. You don't have to have the carbon fiber tip. You can have the all aluminum tip, but like I said, you don't have to worry about the tip wear with this thing. I mean, I've been rubbing this thing all up against bunkers and all that, and this carbon fiber is just not going to, because it's just pure carbon fiber, I guess. So thanks guys for watching. I hope, you know, everyone's been wondering what I think about the Stella barrel. That's what I think. I think it's a really cool design. I think it's a really cool concept. The barrel itself is nice. It's quiet. It shoots great. But yeah, I like my boomsticks and I like my ultralights. But I am definitely going to possibly pick this up in the future and maybe use this on like pumps or that kind of stuff, especially when I'm in the woods, so I don't have to worry about getting rid of all this tip wear and doing all that stupid shit and rubbing up against bunkers, and I don't have to be cautious about that. And I can just rub this thing on whatever I want. I can rub it on the camera. I can beat the shit out of the carbon fiber tip. So yeah, that's basically my little rant on the Stella barrel. I hope you guys enjoy it. I think it's a great barrel. It's a great pickup. So go ahead and pick one up if you have the extra money. Thanks for watching, guys.